Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Imaginary Engineering. In this video we are going to build e-commerce application. If you are beginner, then this video is really gonna helpful. We are using the React Router DOM Redux, and even if you don't know about that and you are beginner, then this video will help you. So watch this video till the end and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the Imaginary Engineering. Before we start, I will show you the application. So let me go to the browser. Now here we can see all the products which are available, image, price, rating. If I click on the any product item, we redirect to the another page. In URL we can see products/1. If I click on this card, we can see the items which are available. We can increment and decrement the quantity, add to cart, then increment the quantity. Also we can remove the item from the cart. I am using the Redux toolkit to store the data and React Router DOM to navigate between the pages. So let's start our actual coding part. Here is our app. I have already created the app. Now inside this app.css I have written all the CSS which is required for our project. Don't worry about that. I will provide the code in description. So our main focus is React. Now I will install all the packages which is required for our project. So we need the React Router DOM. Then I will install the Redux toolkit, React Redux, and also I will install the React icons for icons. It will take some time. Now after successfully install all the packages, here you can see our app is running on localhost 3000. Then first I will create a folder, pages, which contain all our pages. I will add the two pages here, product details to render the product details, and second one is the products to render the all the product item. This is our first page, products. Now I will write the definition of that products and products detail page and export this component. Here you can see we export product details and products function. Now let's go to the app.js. Here first I will show you the way how we can use the route definition in earlier version of React Router DOM. First I will import the browser router, routes and route from React Router DOM. Then we will add the browser router and wrap our routes inside that browser router. Then I will add the routes. Inside that we will define our route. It will take some property path to define the path slash. This is our home page and element which we want to render. So I will pass the products as my first page, first element which render when user hit that path slash. I will add the another route, products slash, and here I am passing the ID as a dynamic ID, and then element will be rendered product details. Now if I go here, you can see on the first page we can see the products page, and if I hit the products slash ID, now we can see the product details page. Go back to the slash. Now here we can see the products page. Let's go to the VS Code. Now I am removing all this because we are not using this method to define the route. In the React Router DOM, provide updated version, provide the another way to define the route. So I am using that in this project. So for that, first let me import the router provider and create browser router function from the React Router DOM. This create browser router function actually allows us to define the route. It will take the array of objects and each object represent the one path. This will take the array of object, and this object we pass our property path slash, and then second one is component, which component should be loaded when this path is active. So I will say the products. Now let me add the another path, products slash. Here I am passing the dynamic id colon id. Now element I want to render is product details. Then I will use that router provider and pass this router to this router prop. So basically what we have done here, first we import the router provider and create browser router from the React router DOM. Then we define our routes using the create browser router and pass that as a prop to the router provider. So let's go back to the browser and check if everything is working fine. Here we can still see the products and product details page. If I hit this URL, here you can see. If I go back, we can see the products, means it's working as before. Now next what we will do, we are using this API, fake store API I am using. Let me open the docs. We hit this URL, it will return some products. Here you can see array of object, id, title, price, category. So in this new feature we get another property loader. This loader, what it will do, we will call the function in this loader prop, and this function will return the fetch the data from the APIs and return it before we visit this URL. So here we define one function and make it async. Here we call the API using the fetch. Inside that we provide the path. Here let me copy this path and paste it here. Then we will convert this response to the JSON and store it in the data. I will also console log this data, and then we will return this data. Okay, so this function basically return the response of that API. Here I am getting one error, sorry, here there is a space. Now if I refresh, here you can see we are getting the data 20 array of object. So this data is loaded before we visit this user redirect to this page. So now we go to our products component. First I will create the one folder components. Inside that I will create the component products item. We'll define this product item and export this component. Then we will call this component in products here. So let me remove this and call the product item component and import that product item from components. Now next the question is how we can access that data which is returned by the loader function. Now for that React router DOM provide the use loader data function. So we call that function which return the data returned by the loader. I will console log this item, so we will see what data it will return. Let me go back to the browser and refresh. Here you can see this 20 array of object we are getting from the products.js. Now we will pass this data to this product item as a props. So instead of that, how we can do, because this data is not required in products component, it required in the product item component. So instead of calling this use loader data here, we can directly call it to the product items. So let me import this use loader data here, and also I am copy paste this use loader in product item. Now we don't need to pass any prop to this product item. Then next we will iterate over the each element in items using map and display on screen. So now let me add the div, provide the class name card. I have written the CSS in the app.css, so you don't have to worry about that. I will provide the code in description. You can refer the CSS from there. Now here we are using the map to iterate over each element. It will return one div, provide the class name card item. Then first we'll add the image, pass the source item.image. Then next we'll add the another div, this will be our card body. Inside that we will show the price and rating. Provide the class name rating. Now here if I show you, we have this rating object, and inside that we have the rate attribute. So item.rating.rate, it will return the user's rating. Now if I refresh, let me close this console log, and now here you can see the product is rendered and it looks nice, but there is no gap between them. So let me go to the CSS. So inside this card I will add some gaps, so grid gap, let's say 2 rem, and here now it looks nice. We have the gap between the item. So we successfully rendered all the elements. Now let's go back. Now we want to add the navigation bar for each pages, that product details and product. So first in the component I will add the new component main navigation.js. First we will define that main navigation function and export that function. Then inside this main navigation bar we add the header tag. Inside that we'll add the nav tag. We'll add the home, which redirect us to the home page. We import the link from the React router DOM, which take one property 2. Here we provide the path / so we will redirect to the home page when user click on this. Next we will add one div for the cart icon. For the icon I am using this React icon, so let me copy this and import it, and then let me copy this and paste it here. Now our navigation bar is ready. Then we want this navigation bar to all the pages, so I am calling this main navigation component here in products page. Now I want that navigation bar in a product details page, so I am adding that main navigation component here also. Now if we go back, here you can see the nice navigation bar. If I go to the products detail page, here we can see the navigation bar. But what if we have the multiple pages? Here we have only 2. Every time adding that main navigation component, it's not a good solution. So here in the side these pages I will create another component root.js, and this will become our root layout. So first let me where the function root, and let's call it root layout. Inside that component, it will return the, here we will add the main navigation component. Now let's go back to our app.js. Here I will add the another path which will redirect us to the root layout. So path will point to the first page slash. Now redirect to the element root layout. Then we have the another property called a children. It will take the array of object. So all the remaining path will become the children of this path. So let me copy this path, cut this path and paste it here. Now these two paths will become the children of this main path. Now we go back to our browser. Here you can see the children is not rendered. So because of in the root layout we don't provide the outlet. So let's go back, and here we add the outlet which is import from the React router DOM. Now if I go back, here you can see all the children components are rendered. Let's go to our app.js. This path is a default path, so we can write a index :true. Now you can see it works as before. Now let's go to the products. Here you can see this main navigation, we don't need it anymore. Let me remove this from both the pages. Now here you can see we can still see the navigation bar and all the children component. Remove this navigation. Now let's go to this product item. Now next we want, when we click on this any product item, we redirect to the product details page. So for that I will use the hook. For navigation, use navigate. So we'll store that function in one variable navigate and call the use navigate function. We add a on click event and call this navigate, and we'll pass the path /products, and we dynamically pass the ID. So here I'm using the string template and will pass the ID item.id. This path will match to this path we have provided, which redirects us to the product details page. For now I'm adding one text, let's say hello. Now clicking on first item, in URL you can see the products /1. Now next we want to fetch the data from the specific product by ID. So in this path I will add the property loader and define one function which will return the response. So here we will define the one async function. I'm using I will show you in fake store API. I'm using this URL to fetch the specific product. Here at the end we are passing the product ID to fetch that particular item data. Then we will convert that response to JSON and store it in the data and return that data. We want this ID dynamically, so this function receives the one prop called params, which is basically used to fetch the parameters from URL. So we'll remove this one from here and we will dynamically receive the ID. So we will say params.id. so we can dynamically access that ID. Now let's go to our product details. When user hit that URL, it will load that data and return it. So access that data, we will use the use loaded data from the React router DOM. We call that function and store the data in items. Here I will console log the items so we can see what data we are getting. So let me inspect console log, click on the first item. Now here we are getting this data, ID 1, image, price, rating. Now we are just display all this data in product details page. So let me remove this. I'm adding one div first. Provide the class name, product details. Inside that I will add the image. Items.image. Then we will add the title, then product description, then we have the price, rating. At the end we will add one button, add to cart, so a user can add the item to the cart. We'll add the button add to cart. Now if I click on any item, here you can see the title, description, price, rating and one button add to cart. It's not working right now. If I click on the home, we redirect to the products page. Now next we will create the store. So first I will create the folder store called store. This store is basically all our application data we store at a central place, and so all the components can access it. Inside this store folder I have created the file car.js, and first we will import the create slice function from Redux.js toolkit. We will call this create slice function. It will take the object, we pass the name, it can be anything, up to you. Then we add the initial state. In my case the initial state is object which contain the attribute cart item, which is the array, and then we'll add the reducers, which is the again object, and here we can define the methods. That in my case there is only one method, set cart item, which take the two props state and action, which is basically update our state cart item, action.payload which user has sent, and will store that value in a state.cart item and update the value of initial state. Now here this cart slice dot action return the action object which contain the all the methods we have provided in the reducers. So next we will export our this set cart item, so we can use that in other files. Then I will create and export the function select cart item. It will basically return the value which is stored in our cart item. So state.cart item, it will return the value cart item. Now let me export this cart slice dot reducer. Now again we will create another file store.js. Here we will combine all our reducers. In our case we have only one. So first we'll import the configure store from Redux.js toolkit. Then I will import the cart reducer from store cart. Then we will export this store and call the function configure store. It will take the object and reducer. We have the only one reducer right now, cart reducer. Now next we go to our index.js. We want to connect our store to application. For that, first we import the provider from Redux store, and then we will wrap our application in this provider component. Then we will import the store which we have created from store folder, and now here we have the store. Now we will pass that store to the provider. Now we will successfully connect our store to our application. Now next, when user click on this add to cart, we want to add the item to the store, so we will call the method add to cart. Let's define this method. Add to cart. Inside this method we need the dispatch to dispatch the action, so I am importing the dispatch. Use dispatch from the React Redux. Then we'll create an object which store the ID of the product. Then we need the title. Then also we will store the price and quantity. We put this in one object and store it in one variable, item store. Now let's call the use dispatch function and store it in variable dispatch. Now next we will dispatch the action. We call the method set cart item and pass this item store. The value we have passed in this set cart item, it will receive as the action.payload, and then we will store it in the cart item to update the initial state. This cart item is a array, so let me add the array and then we pass the item store. Now if I go to the inspect and click on the any element, here you can see the Redux. You can add this extension Redux dev tool. Now if I click on this, we are getting the error item store. Let me remove the spread operator. Now if I click on the add to cart, here you can see we are getting the data ID title. In this action we have the property payload. Here we are getting the data ID title price quantity. Let me add the another item, first item add to cart, but here you can see the previous data is lost. We can't see the previous one. We just add the new one. So for that, first we will collect all the previous data from the store and then add the new item. So for that we use the use selector imported from the React Redux, and here we are using this method select cart item, which is basically return the all the values available in a cart item. So call this method select cart item will return the cart item data which is stored in Redux, and then first we will add all the items and then add a new item. Now let me go back, add to the cart. Now here you can see we have the two items. Now if I go back and add the another item, now here you can see now we have the three items. We can see the previous item also. Now next we want to convert this add to cart button to the remove item when user add the item to the cart. So here I am creating the use state. First we check if that item is present in a cart or not. If it is present, then is remove value is true, so we will show the remove item button. So inside the use state we will use the sum function. So here we check if that item is present in a cart, item.id equal to items.id. If it condition is true, then it will return the true, otherwise it will return the false. When user click on the add to cart, we set the is removed to true, so we will see the remove button. Now next, Here this text we will add dynamically. First we will check is remove true, then we will show the remove button, otherwise we will show add to cart. Now go to the browser. Here you can see this item is already in cart, so we will see the button remove from cart. Now let me add the function remove from cart, so we can remove it from the store. It will receive the ID and then will dispatch the action. We filter out, use the filter method and check the condition. If that item ID is not equal to ID which we have received, and return the all other items and set the is remove to false, so we can see add button. Now here you can see if I click on the remove from, nothing is happened because we didn't call that on click. Here we have to check that if is remove is true, then we will call that remove to cart button, remove to cart function, otherwise we will call add to cart. Actually we don't need to pass that ID, we can directly assign that items.id here, we don't need to pass that ID. So let's go back. If I click on the add to cart, here you can see that item is removed from the cart. Now here we have the two items. If I click on the remove from cart, now I have the one item in the cart. Now next we want to increment and decrement the quantity. So when user click on this cart icon, one dialog box will be open. For that, inside this component folder, add the another component model.js. Let define that function model, so it will return the dialog. Now I am using this dialog element and provide the class name model, then add the form tag, class name dialog, then add the button close. When user click on that close button, that dialog box will be closed. Now in main navigation component we are adding this model component, but here we don't see any dialog box, so we need to provide the property open. Now we can see one dialog box is open. Let me remove this open property and we will add the open the dialog box dynamically. Then we define the useref, import the useref from React and assign it to the dialog. Then we will pass this dialog reference to our component model, but we cannot directly forward that useref to the another component. For that we have the forward ref function from the React. So first I will import that forward ref and wrap our function into this forward ref. Now it will take the two argument. First is props and second one is a reference. Now this reference will pass to this dialog element. Let's go to the main navigation. When user click on that cart icon, that dialog box will be open. For that we will call the dialog.current. There is one method which will open the pop-up, so it's a show model. We'll call this method, it will open the pop-up. I have made the mistake here, class name is close and there is another property, inbuilt property method. I will pass the value dialog, so when user click on the close button, this dialog box will be closed. Now next we go to this app.css. I will add some padding for the close button. Now if I click on this, now this close button looks nice. Now here I will get all the items from the store. So we use the use selector and pass that method here. Select cart item, it will return all the cart items. Now next, here I will add one div parenthesis and use the map to iterate over each element in cart items. So it will return the one div. We will show the title, price and two buttons. One for add the increment the quantity and another for the decrement the quantity. Provide the class name title. In parenthesis we will show the price, item dot price. Then here I will add the two buttons. One for increment the quantity. Then we'll show the actual quantity value, item dot quantity. Then add another button to decrement the quantity. So add the class name, add icon. In the React icon we search for the add. I'm using this icon. Let's go back to our VS Code and paste it here. And I'm using this icon for the adding. Now let's search for the remove. Import this. Provide the class name, remove icon, and adding this icon here to remove the quantity. Now if I click on, there is no item selected, so let me first add some item to the cart. Now here you can see the title, close button, increment and decrement button. Now next we call the method. When user click on that plus icon to increment the quantity, add item to cart. Now here it will take the ID as a parameter. Here I am defining that method, add item. Now we use the dispatch to dispatch the action. We call the use dispatch function and store it in the dispatch variable. Then here we call that set card item method and pass the value. So first here we iterate over the card items and check if that item ID is matched with the given ID which we have received. Item dot ID equal to ID. If that ID match, then we will update the quantity value. We will increment the quantity by 1. Here we destructure the item and increment the quantity by 1. Otherwise we will simply return the item. Here we increment the quantity when user click on this add item button. Now next we have the remove item. This method will accept the ID, and then here first we find out that item in cart by given id. So we use the find method. Match the item id equal to id. It will return the given item, and then we will decrement the quantity. But first we check if that quantity is greater than 1. If it is, then we will decrement the quantity by 1. Otherwise we will say quantity is 1. We will return the 1. Now I will just copy paste the above line, and here we change the quantity value. Now we add this remove item on click event and call the method and pass the item id. All thing is done. Now if I click on this plus button, quantity is increment, and if I click on the minus, quantity is decrement. Let's go back. In app.css I will just add the cursor pointer so we can see the cursor when we click on that plus and minus button. Now next we want the total price, so let me add the function for calculate the total price. We'll declare variable and assign the 0. Then we iterate over each item and calculate the price. We will multiply price into quantity and adding the total for each item, and then we will return the total. Now next, here we add one div and display the price. Add the JSX curly braces and call the total price. Here price is display. We want to display only the last 2 decimal digit. So we call the method toFixed and pass the 2. Now here we see only the up to the last 2 decimal digit. Now next we want to show the count of the total items on the cart icon. So let's go to our main navigation component. Here first we will get all the items in cart using the use selector. Total items equal to use selector, and we call that method select cart item. Here it will return all the items available in cart. Then we will define one function calculate count. Declare one variable and assign the value 0. Then we will iterate over each element in total items. And then we will add the quantity of each element to the count and will return the count. Now we call this calculate count method. Here first I will check if that total items is greater than 0, then only we will display the count. Then here we will call the method calculate count and pass the class name count. Now let's go to the browser, and here first I will change this navigation bar color, background color. I will add the another color. Now it looks good to me. If I click, there is no item. Let me add some item. Now here you can see count is 1. When I increment and decrement the quantity, count is changing. Now our e-commerce application is completed. I hope you like it. If you learned something new, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Imaginary Engineering. Thank you for watching.